Hello, this is visual arts educator Allison Sink. In this Arts Advocacy Pecha Kucha, we will cover the need for reliable funding for visual arts classrooms as it relates to student learning. Specifically, we will discuss why these supplies are needed, challenges teachers face with supply upkeep and funding, and how student learning is impacted by supply availability and funding to arts programs. Art supplies are essential to effective student learning in classrooms throughout pre-K through 12 education. Supplies enable educators to use visual arts integration in every subject. This allows students to gain creative skills and more fully engage with the content they are taught. Arts engagement benefits so many students throughout all grade levels. Arts educators can bear some of the heaviest workloads in their schools and districts as well. In the U.S., the average number of art teachers per school district is 21. Despite existing in small groups, art teachers work with significantly large amounts of students. Elementary art teachers instruct about 500 students per year. Secondary art teachers instruct 220 to 360 students per year. Every student deserves valuable experiences with art education. That experience includes working with various art mediums and supplies, classrooms that need to be equipped with supplies that are usable. The amount of supplies must also be matched to class sizes. Educational theorists like Maria Montessori have emphasized that students need proper materials that are quality made and applicable to the student learning environment. With real materials and tools, they have real interest in their learning activities. Montessori's theories have strongly impacted the accessibility of quality supplies for younger students, but the need for quality supplies and engaging materials does not disappear for older grades. As students grow older, the visual arts materials and techniques they engage with grow more complex. Those materials can also grow more expensive. Students need to be continually challenged and engaged to learn effectively. Educational theorist Len Vygotsky expressed this with his theory on the zone of proximal development. Students must be given material that keeps them challenged but also interested. Crayola watercolors K through 12 won't cut it. A teacher can only do so much to keep students engaged without proper supplies and the ability to build more complex lessons and curriculum. When visual arts teachers do receive funding and proper supplies, the challenges don't just end. Classroom organization and management of supplies is vital for any classroom. There can be checks and accountability measures for students to take care of materials, but too often, visual arts classrooms are treated like walk-in supply closets. There are several reasons for this. Students pay fees and gain access to personal and shared art supplies for the class. As Montessori stated, teachers are meant to be the keeper and the custodian of the environment. So, materials must be accessible and organized for student engagement. Supplies are used to work on projects in class. However, even with consistent cleanup and accountability checks, students will lose some supplies. Things are lost or forgotten in personal storage, backpacks, lockers, or at home. Students will come asking for supplies for personal projects or projects for other classes. If an arts teacher says no, the students will sometimes still take the supplies if they know where to find them, or they will just take them without asking. The walk-in supply closet mentality is unfortunately supported by other teachers in a school. Teachers will assign projects requiring art supplies, and instead of supplying them, they will direct their students to ask their school's art teachers for any extra supplies or expect them to find those supplies on their own. Naturally, students will come asking, especially if they are unable to obtain supplies at home. Art teachers do not have endless amounts of extra supplies to give anyone who comes asking. Students enrolled in current art classes have paid the fee for their supplies. Too often, teachers pay out of their own pocket to fund supplies for those currently enrolled students. Those supplies are theirs to use for the duration of the class. There are no extra materials for students not currently enrolled in a visual arts class. In fact, those fees that fund supplies for currently enrolled students aren't always paid, but every student deserves experiences in art education. Students who are unable to pay the fees may be eligible for fee waivers. Their fee is paid by the school district general fund, state funds, or occasionally through fundraising efforts and donations. Visual arts educators already face many challenges with organization and accountability with supplies. If funding is threatened and teachers are unable to obtain sufficient supplies to meet all the needs of their students, the challenges they face will only increase. This is a hot topic of conversation within the current political climate on the state and federal level. On the state level, funding discussions have been uncertain and ever fluctuating with this discussion and policy changes through HB 215. Utah Fits All Scholarship Program, that plan to give income tax funds to eligible students for private school tuition or homeschooling expenses. This has left the future state of public school funding, including the funding for art supplies, uncertain. On the federal level, the reliability of funding and resources is also uncertain. Currently, there are discussions about eliminating the Department of Education. This is threatening because one of the department's main purposes is to ensure equal access to education for all students. Often that comes in the form of funding and services that meet the needs of underserved children in public schools. What can be done? Ensuring reliable, consistent funding and fair policies so students' needs are equitably met. Their conversations around public school funding are ever-present and ever-changing. Art education is a beloved part of children's experience in schools. Giving art teachers reliable materials and funding to work with ensures the best arts education possible for students. Who needs to know about this? Supervisors overseeing supply funding and management in school districts, members of the Board of Education, legislators making decisions about school funding. Parents and other members of the general public also need to know to raise awareness on what is happening and what is needed in public schools. Voters need to be aware of their impact on school policies and funding. Conclusively, the quality of students' education benefits when art supplies are consistently funded to meet the needs of the students. Usable, reliable supplies improve the working conditions for art teachers. When funding for art supplies and other important school funding is at risk, student learning suffers. And here are my references. Thank you.